Hey guys, McNasty Customs here. What I'd like to go over with you today is a little exhaust pipe repair. This is a 1987 RM125, pretty much all stock. This is a stock exhaust pipe which is in pretty good condition, but there's a good sized dent right here in the very bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this pipe off, I'm going to bring it over to the bench, and I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks to basically get the dent out of the pipe. It'll make it easy for a lot of guys, instead of going out and buying a new $250 front pipe, something like that, you can bang it out and pretty much get all your power back. So it doesn't matter if it's a stock pipe or an aftermarket pipe or something, FMF, Pro Circuit, something along those lines. If you got a dent in it, you got a dent in it and you're losing power. That's the entire tune of your two-stroke power band is in this exhaust pipe right here. So if you have any kind of dents in it, you are losing power regardless if you think you are, if you can feel it. If you don't, you are losing power. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to pull this pipe off and bring it to the bench. We're going to show you a couple of tricks to get the dents out the cheap and easy way. And either you can weld it up yourself or you can have a friend weld it. Or bring it to a welder, whatever it is, but we're going to show you the easy way, the clean way of doing it for no money. The exhaust pipe, obviously it's off. Let me see if I can show you the dent right here. So you can see that the bottom of the pipe is dented in. Now that's a good sized dent. Alright guys, now we have our pipe off, we have the pipe on the bench, and this is the dent area. Obviously I showed you that we are going to fix, extract. It is right on the seam, and obviously it's blocking the smaller section of the pipe, so it is actually having an issue with airflow. So we're going to do step one here. Always wear safety glasses no matter what. What we have is a DeWalt 20 volt drill here, and we have a DeWalt wire brush. So we're just going to wire brush this area off and clean it so we can have a better idea of what we're working with. We could see it better once we get a little further in the work. You can see the dent. So keep in mind how big this dent is, right on a serious part of this pipe. And then you'll see this at the end. So we'll take it from there. So now there's multiple ways of doing a pipe, working on a pipe. This is an original OEM pipe. It has all the wording and everything up here. So I mean, that's something you kind of want to keep if you're trying to have a stock rebuild on a bike. And not everybody wants to go out and buy an FMF or a Pro Circuit or a Bills or a DG or anything along those lines. Some people want a stock look. Now there are a couple of ways of doing this. Some people can cut a section of the pipe out and then re-weld it all back in. That's a lot of work because this is so thin to try to get these lines to look right again and to get it to seal up. I mean, you can do it, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of work. Somewhere in here you'd have a weld and you'd notice that this pipe has been repaired. This way is a little bit different. This is the way I do it on pipes that I don't want nobody really to see what happened. Usually when the dent's on the outside of the pipe here, you can go from the back of the pipe straight through, clean it up, and then when you weld the spots, nobody actually sees it because it's up against the back of the motor and you don't see it. Down here is a little bit of a different situation, but it's pretty much the same thing. So what I'm going to do and what I do is I drill a hole in the back side of the pipe across from the dent, and I'll use something like this. You can use this is just a 1/2 inch bolt. You can round the edges a little bit if you want. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and you can buy just 1/2 inch round stock. You want it roughly about a 1/2 inch. And then you come through the pipe and you bang the dent out, and then on the inside here you only have a little 1/2 inch hole. Now you might have to do a couple of holes, depending on how long I possibly have to do a couple holes here. I'm going to go directly across the center, and then I'll move it up a little bit. So just say our dent here is 2 inches long. I'm probably going to want to do 2 holes in it because it is kind of long. And I'm going to want to do about 1 inch in and 1 inch in from each side. So, you know, leaving about 1 inch from the center and 2 holes. So I will come from the back side of this pipe and I will drill straight down. Then I will go in with the bolt and I will bang it through with the hammer onto the bench and I will knock the dent out of it, most of it. And if you very careful with it and you do move it around and you massage it and you keep banging, 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 you will get the majority of it out and you won't really tell. What you want to work on in this situation for this actual dent is you want to work on this weld. So you want to go from the back side and where it's really strong where the weld is, you want to bang the weld out. So, like I said, I'll mark the center with my finger. Okay, then I will move my other finger up 1 inch. So now I want to go directly across from where that is. So I can mark that, or I can find it directly across, which will be right here as far as I'm concerned. So directly across from where I want to bang it out, I'm going to drill a hole straight down, and I am going to start my first issue there. So then you start with the smaller drill bit, any size obviously doesn't really matter. And you start in the top of the pipe directly across from where you want to start the first hole you want to bang down. These are sharp drill bits. This is a 1/2 inch. So I started my pilot hole, now I'm going to come in with a 1/2 inch. I have my first hole 1/2 inch drilled. See? So you tap it in and you kind of massage the hole around as well. Now it's in. The bolt is in the first hole. You can slightly massage the bolt around to massage the hole open a little bit. Now I can see, as you can see, here's the bolt. And here's the very first hole down here. Very first where I want to put the first one. Where I want to put the first hits of the hammer through. Tap it in. Now that's just getting it in the hole. Now the hole's obviously, I can feel around with my finger to right where I want to start this. Try it right there. It feels like it should be decent right there. And then you just start. You play with it a little bit, you bang it out a little bit. You keep feeling with your fingers, keep feeling with your hand. You can move. Just don't go crazy. You can put pressure on the bolt, move it around, get it to where you got to get it. So you feel like it's in the right spot. You can prep up the other side of the pipe on something like this vise right here. And then you can just... Now I already felt that move quite a bit. Now you just saw what I did. Let me bring this over to you. Half of the dent is already gone that fast. So let me show you. The center, you can see the very center of this bolt hole dent is now banged out. It's nothing like it was, and it's already, and we're only on our very first attempt. So, what I want to do is I want to roll the bolt around, roll this bolt around inside the pipe, and I can feel where there's high and low spots. You might want to do that at the same time as feeling with your finger, trying to line something up where you think is going to be in the right spot. I mean, you just got to play and play and play until you feel you got the right spot or where you want to be. just don't go crazy. Well, that did a lot. You don't go crazy, just go a little bit at a time. I mean, if you find a piece of wood or something to prop the end of this pipe up, would probably be a lot better than what I'm actually doing. I'm just trying to show you this real quick for the video. But just say, you know, the bottom of your dent is where you want it down on the table. You find something to prop the pipe on like that. And you keep playing. So I'll do that. I'll bend over the bench and I'll just keep tapping. You can feel the pipe move the more you play with it. And again, just want to tap, tap, tap. You don't want to go crazy. Good. See, this is why you don't want to go crazy. It's almost to where it needs to be, that fast. You can see, now obviously we still have a dent here, but the dent started way over here. This entire section is already out. This is where I was hammering it and I got it back out. So I'm going to try to tap this area a little bit more and get that. And then I'll come down here, even if I have to drill another hole to pop that one out. You can see how fast this goes. You just got to take your time. You can't go crazy. Because you take the bolt, you start ramming it through, you're going to dent the pipe out too far. Now you can massage it back in from the outside with the hammer, but you just want to take your time. You just want to take your time. Now I can feel right where I feel the dent needs to come out. Should be straight down right there. Just get it in the way you want it. And you can feel the pipe move. Wow. Now look at this. This pipe is, from what I just played with, this section is where the dent started. From this section to this section, look at that. It looks factory. Now we just got to get this lower dent out. Now we're going to play with that lower dent. Now I can play with this up here a little tiny bit more. Once I, you know, if that's what I want to do, I can play with it a little bit more. But right now I'm going to go and I'm going to get the other good sized dent out of it. Now from where this hole I drilled is up here, here is the center of this hole, which means I need to drill another hole right here to get right in there and to get it to be workable where I want. I'm not going to, if I bend this bolt much more, I'll start to dent the basic pipe in, the tube in the area around it. I'll start crushing it in, oblonging it and so on. You don't really want to do that. You can play with it a little bit so you can get a little play in it, but you don't want to just pull the bolt down. It'll just put a huge dent right here. So you have to go more or less, if you want this a nice clean way, you have to put another hole here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to find the center of this one now, and we're going to come straight across. So it's like you take your bolt and you want to slide your bolt and bang your bolt into the center of it. You want to, you know, get to the center of the dent down below, so you want it to be exactly across 100% at the top of the tubing, so you can go straight through and get right through it. This will give you the cleanest result. If you can't really get in there, and because you know, say this has a bend in it this way, and you can't, I mean, you got to play with it. You got to go back and forth. You don't want to put a ton of holes in the top side of your pipe, but you want to be able to get the dents out. Because back here, this is a spot you are going to somewhat see when it's on the bike. I mean, it'll be on the bike, it'll be up and in there, but we're going to weld this and we're going to show you how to get rid of that. So you want to come straight across. So I want to be right there, pretty much right there. You know, keep feeling it, make sure it's exactly where you want to be. So that's exactly where I want to be. I want to be right here. And then any smaller drill bit is a pilot. It doesn't matter what size it is. And then you want to come in with your 1/2 inch bit. I mean, this is just tin, so this goes fast. So we're going to just put the 1/2 inch through it. And that goes real fast. Now we'll show you real close up, you know, of the 2 holes we just drilled. You can see the bigger hole. This is the bigger hole. and you can see the one that we just drilled is right there. We're going to do the same thing again with this one. Get in plane, how do you know? I can feel the dent goes right there in the water. So basically, I can get right now, I have to do it straight down. Now feel right over. There we go. Do the same thing. Get the whole thing up. If you want this as possible, you just find a way to make sure that you bend straight down the hole on the top. I feel that. Wait. Very solid. Let me just show you where we are right now. As of right now, this dent's almost gone. This dent is almost gone. Now, if you remember how bad that was a good sized crease in that pipe. And then the back side's pretty straight. We can hammer and dolly the back side of it back out. But look at this side. This side is almost perfect to where it needs to be. There's just this little tiny area right here where this dent is. So if we went and drilled another hole on the back side at a different angle, we could probably just pop this section right out. Tink. And then should look pretty good. I'm debating whether I want to do that or not. I mean, we'd come across right across the center. It's really not a big deal for me, but I'm trying to show you guys. Yeah, I might as well. I might as well. Just to get this pipe as nice as possible. I'm going to put one more hole in it. I'm trying to do this with the least amount of holes for you guys to be able to copy it, more or less. So you guys can say, hey, that wasn't so hard. I think I'll try it myself. So we got a hole right here. Down, down. Face the hole. Keep going. Right here. I'm going to do two of those on this side. It looks like a perfect spot. Now clean it up and a little more difficult side. I see multiple ways. I see people try to hit and go here and go. I see people come. Quick. You put it on how this, you'll play it. It's like, just hang up. So it's really hard to reseal it. And then kind of got an issue. All you want to do is 3 bolts. Almost impossible. You see this. First one, not be able to back up. First one, back up. Straight down here. Now, this time, if you do it this way, you can pull one hand on the side of the you see where you try to get that, and you tap the other one, and you tap the other one. There it goes. You feel it. You feel it. You feel it. Back and forth. You feel it a little bit sometimes. I know you're going to play where you're not feeling much, but that's very, very small. When I'm trying to feel my thumb over here. I'm trying to feel the metal move. With my thumb. I'm going to get pretty much all the way down. I'm not going to have this. Nothing perfect. It's going to go. We can start back in. And we got a small thing down here. And we're only going to do so much here. We're not going to be crazy with it. And that's so let me show you where we are now. We got the majority of this entire dent out. Now, we're at the point, you can see where it's mostly out. Let me move it this way, and you get a view from this side. It's pretty good. Now what you want to do, now if you wanted to play with that more and keep massaging it and play with it, you can do that. Now what you want to do is you want to come back with the hammer and whatever little like ripples or whatever you got into it from banging, you can slowly, slightly tap them back in. Slowly, lightly tap them out, very lightly, just a little. Side milk, just a side milk. Now the more you want to play with this, the nicer and nicer you can get it. I mean, we just have, this whole front section is very nice. It's very, very nice. Just this one section right here, I wish it was a little bit nicer. And now I can't really get to that section because the bolt, let me get a different length bolt. Like I said, you can buy half-inch round stock at any store. I'm just, this is a last-minute thing. I just figured I'd throw a quick video up just to show you guys. And let's see if I can get a shorter bolt in there and maybe get a different angle at it. See? I feel that. Now I look down through the holes I have here, I can see. It's a little closer. Where I want to be. Feel you right there. I can see inside the little pieces. Laying on that wall right now. Not bad. So, I pretty much got everything where I'm going to go with it. It's pretty much pulled out as far as we're going to go. Now I'm going to show you the second part of this is repairing the holes. The wire wheel. Wire wheel the area clean so you can weld it. Now that these holes are a little oblonged out, you want to tap them around with a hammer. I mean, I hold it in my hand and do it, and I don't want to bang it on you. Now you can flatten the other side back out. So you just massage the metal back to where you think it should have been, so it's not sticking up. It doesn't look too bad. This one is up a little bit. Let me put it on this rag and tap it. Yeah, now that's down. Okay, now let me show you the 3 holes up close. So these will be the 3 holes up close. 1, 2, 3. And we are going to show you how to weld these. Just give me 1 second, please, to set up. Okay, guys, very simple. We got the welder. This is a Millimatic 212. So it's a pretty good sized machine. So I got the power level turned down to 2. And what you're going to do is you're going to start, because this is very thin metal. What you're going to do is you're going to start with 1 hole, work on the very edge, and in a situation like this that you have a seam, you can start on the seam because the seam is thicker than the metal of the regular expansion chamber. So you start with the thickest metal, and you start rolling it around and around and around until you close this hole off. What I'm going to be doing is pulling the trigger, letting off, pulling the trigger, letting off, because if you pull the trigger too much, it's going to burn a hole right through it. So you might want to practice on some thin metal first, and start from there. There you go, there you got your first hole. I basically started up on the seam, I rolled around, and then you could fill it basically all the way in. I hope you guys could see that on the camera. I hope the torch isn't in the way. I am going to do the same thing on the second hole here, and then the third, and I'll move the camera for the third. So now, if you have a big flat area on the pipe up here, you can just grab a 4-inch flap disc and you can just smooth it out. You want to start with the weld itself until you get to the weld. You don't want to just sit there and roll it back because you're going to be taking metal off the rest of the pipe. What you want to do is just that area that you touched, just that area, which you can see the flap disc is not going to get in here. Just that area that's built up, you want to just keep going over and massaging that area until that area is down to just about the height of the rest of the pipe. Then at that point, you just want to massage it in so it disappears, and then that'll be gone. Like in this situation here, we're going to play a little bit with this whizzer. We're going to whizzer it out a little bit. I got to go turn the air compressor on. I didn't want it on while we were filming. And you could also use, you know, any kind of carbide cutter or so on, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to carbide cut it down a little bit, then we're going to go in with the final whizzer and we're gonna whiz it down. Okay guys, hope you can hear me. The air compressor's running. I got my whizzer on here and I'm gonna start smoothing this down. So there you have it. This is the last thing I was using, is I was using a whizzer with a little disc on there, sanding disc. There's different grits, obviously. I used a little piece of sandpaper to get into the small areas that were real tight from the inside. You know, I used a little to get in there and roll it around. You can use the 4-inch flap disc, and you can get into some of the other areas and you just want to massage. You don't want to eat away at any of the metal. You just want to massage it, and play with it. And then obviously in the real tight spots, I use this carbide cutter. I went in and you just sand and polish, play and sand and polish. So let me give you a close-up of where we were. I'm trying to hold this thing out here enough for you to see it. That dent. Now we're going to pop a picture back up on here that we saved, and we're going to show you. So I'll put this over here and we'll put a dent in the other corner up top, and you can see how big of a difference there is. This dent is completely gone. Now we are going to sand this pipe down and we're going to get some nice paint on it, and then we'll show you in a few. So guys, I decided to strip the pipe completely down, all the way down, and I'm going to paint it from scratch. This way we don't have no overlap or anything like that. You can see I stripped the whole pipe down. I used a wire wheel, a DeWalt wire wheel on a DeWalt 20-volt grinder, and I got all the paint off of it, and it looks good. So we're going to start from scratch, and we'll take it from there. Alright guys, so here's our pipe finished up. So what I did is I played with this a little bit more, so on and so on, off camera. Then I wire wheeled this entire pipe down, and I shot it with 3 coats of semi-gloss high temperature engine paint. I let it sit for a while, and then I came in and I sanded the areas we did the metal work on, so it kind of filled in any little imperfections with like primer, is basically what it was. And then once I had that sanded down, I put 3 more coats of the high temperature paint over it, and I let it sit overnight. This is the end result. This pipe, looking up close, you would not be able to tell anybody did any work to this pipe. It's going to try to focus in on the camera. It's a little bit tough. I got a flashlight. I'm going to show you. So this is the area right here. This is the area right there that you're looking at that was crushed in. Move the light around. I don't know how close we can get it to the camera here. Just nothing. There's nothing there. It's completely gone. I mean, you can see a little tiny bit, but I mean, at the amount of time you put in it, it's gone. I mean, there's nothing there. Let me show you the inside. This is the inside where we did our welds. So we had like 1, 2, and 1 on the back side. Let me get this as close to the camera so you can see that you cannot tell and let me flip it around. You cannot tell anybody was in here and played with anything. Try to get as close up as I can on this. There is nothing there. Nobody will ever know you did this repair. And then, like I said on the bottom, let me see how close I can get this to the camera. I'm moving the light around so you can see how straight the metal is. There's nothing there. And then this is what the finished pipe looks like when it's done. I mean, you got a finished pipe and we're going to install it on the bike.